Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Troy.
And I'm Ben-Jamin Toy.
We're broadcasting from the Cohesion Culture headquarters in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina, where even when it rains, the sun still shines.
You're going to hear real-time stories from leaders confessing their most crucial or recent uh-oh experiences in business.
Learn what their uh-oh cost them, steps they took to fix it, and how they planned
to not do that one again.
Welcome, Ryan DuBois. How are you, Ryan?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
It is awesome to have you a part of our show. I know you and I have gotten together several times. We've talked on the phone. We've shared some leadership information. You do a great job of helping to scale business and to build thriving cultures, which is speaking our love language, especially around our Cohesion Culture program and what we know that needs to happen within organizations. So glad to have you here. You know, we're just going to ask you an opening question to kind of get things flowing. It's what we call our connections before content. And so for you today, I thought it might be kind of fun for you to share an activity or hobby that people would not know that you enjoy.
Activity or hobby, okay. Well, I'm very active in running and doing ultra running and endurance sports. So some people know that, some people don't know that, but that's how I stay, keep the mind fresh before I start my day each day, doing something hard.
And that, I think, is how we sort of met you a little bit through our buddy, Ryan Cass.
Yes, Ryan and I connected, I don't know, maybe half a year ago, and just hit it off on the leadership, on doing hard things, on trying to make an impact. And then obviously that led me to the introduction with Dr. Troy, which has been nothing but fantastic.
Yeah, sweet.
Awesome.
Thanks. So it's like Ryan to the power of two. That's what it
Ryan
is.
squared. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Something in the name.
That's right.
I'm in a meeting group that had 3 Bens in it. So I'd introduce us as we're the Bens and we'll leave you breathless.
Oh, I thought maybe you would have said, here's Ben, and I'm the has-been.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Thank you.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it didn't cost anything for that.
No,
that
not at all.
There we go. Yeah, it's good.
Brian, love to learn about you now, but I first want to learn about who you are as an identity, character traits, behaviors, things like that. Not so much, but eventually getting into the roles and some of the things that Dr. Troy mentioned. You can dive into a little bit more, but I want to learn a little bit more about you as the person.
Yeah, just a I don't know, fun-loving, laid-back guy who loves to cut up, have fun, make an impact along the way, throw some smiles around, and just try to make everybody's world a little bit better. That's me in a nutshell.
So laid-back and fun-loving isn't counter to a long-distance runner?
Well, no, actually, long distance running is kind of just throw on the Bob Marley tunes and just jam for a few hours, you know, and that is kind of laid back and running. I'd say the 5K, which just did this past weekend, is a little bit more intense and hard driving.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, all right. So it's really cool. Thanks for sharing, you know, a couple of things about you that people wouldn't necessarily know. They get a framework. And so now share with us a little bit about your background, and then we're going to get into the first question. So I mentioned in the top of the intro about how you help scale businesses and build thriving cultures. So just give folks a little bit of a background then of the role that you play. We heard a little bit of your identity. What's some of the role?
Yeah, so earlier on, it was just starting up smaller companies. For the first 15 years of my career, I was able to build a construction, landscaping, and excavation company, scale that and exit that up in New York. And then from then, the last 15 years, I've been in manufacturing operations on the operations side. So that's just, and I help start up organizations from dirt to 24/7 operations, meaning from helping with building the company, the buildings, the manufacturing equipment going in, the teams that support it. And I've done that a handful of times, from 2 in Savannah, 1 in Nashville, 1 in Texas. And I'm back here in South Carolina now, in a smaller scaling organization right now.
Great. Okay, good. All right. So part of our process today is just to uncover something that you would consider a little uh-oh. It could be your most recent one or something in the past. These are opportunities where you learn from it. So doing is framing down the things. So what is your uh-oh that you have to share with us?
Well, I have to go back a handful of years. When starting up one of the organizations, we had a lot of early success in starting it up and building a team to support one shift operation. And we had so much success that we rushed into scaling too quickly, meaning we went to 2 shifts too quickly, without getting the team really ready. And that set us back quite a bit. We thought we had the team set and ready to take on more production, go to a second shift, but we weren't really ready. And that was kind of an uh-oh moment, because it stretched the talent that we did have, and the team that wasn't ready at the same time. So we had a lot of people working, including myself, countless hours to support these 2 and 3 shift operations, before we had the systems, the training, the structure, and everything in place to support this new this expansion. So that was kind of, that was the uh-oh moment where, a few months down the road, we had to scale back production. So once we said we were able to do certain things with production, then we had to scale back and kind of start all over again, retrain, put the systems in place, put in lean manufacturing principles, standard work, the training, roles, responsibilities, and the structure in order to scale back up.
So it sounds like, if I were thinking about that, obviously from a business where I might be a leader of people or an entrepreneur. So let's kind of break this down for individuals who are listening to the podcast today. These are basically emerging leaders who may not necessarily be leaders of people. They could be, or they could be in the entry stage, or maybe a longer time. But the idea is, break that down to us personally. So what was your participation in the uh-oh moment that you had? Because we know that it was that you scaled too quickly, because that's what you said. There were some reasons for that happening, and then you had to backtrack. So what was your contribution to that decision from a personal leadership perspective that the listeners can be able to latch onto?
I mean, personally, I took over in operations after the uh-oh moment. So leading up to that, it was what led the decision was the success. I mean, I was the one who had to come in and kind of have the difficult conversations to right size the uh-oh moment in the organization, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, that was just kind of laying out the plan for what that needs to look like to get the company and the organization back to where it needs to be with its people and development of the people.
So for you, part of that was possibly, and again, not putting words in your mouth, but just trying to make sense of it. If you went down that path where you were too far ahead, what were the things you missed? What did you miss thinking about that led you to believe that you were too far ahead, too soon?
So we missed the impact that it has on the people, really. And that's what kind of led me on my journey to start really focusing on people. Before that, I was pretty successful with driving business performance, optimizing them. But it was a personal cost too. It was a reflection in the mirror, because as I'm pulling 20 hours and I look at my family next to me, it was a personal reflection of like, yeah, you can't, this isn't sustainable for yourself and for others involved in this project. So it was focusing on the people, listening to the people, and taking that and bringing it to the, you know, the executives to make sure that we can implement something that's sustainable long term. So I think that was the turning moment. There was just focusing on the people and getting them where they needed to be.
So what was that? So what was that transition like? You said you hadn't taken over yet, or you hadn't been involved. You were just the manager at that time. What was the transition of your level leadership at that to make that happen?
So then I stepped into a lead operations role, which gave me, you know, which I assessed the situation. I brought it to the president, and I clearly explained, you know, I put together the metrics, the performance of the shifts, and clearly explained what was going on and how we needed to right size this ship, and the culture, and, you know, just the quality, production, everything across the board. Just slowly deteriorated from the beginning of the shift all the way up into the night shift. So just putting all that together, to then say, you know, have that difficult conversation, be like, hey, we're going to cut production in half. It's only for this amount of time, and here's the plan to get right sized. Again, it was a huge loss. I mean, but in the end, after the next 3 to 6 months, it was a huge gain, because then we rallied the team. We got the culture where it needed to be. We got the production quality and efficiencies where they needed to be after that, in a sustainable model where we were onboarding, we were retaining talent, we were creating energy for a great place to work. And the snowball was just after that, the snowball effect was great.
Yeah. What was the impact or the cost to your personal leadership as a result of moving and getting everybody all excited about this and then having to pull back?
I just think like transitioning from, you know, the go-to guy, which was, you know, and then stepping back and really focusing and being okay with the time it takes to get the company where it needs to be and the people. So, you know, I guess I lost the question there for a minute, Dr. Troy. Can you rephrase?
Oh, yeah, sure. I just wanted to know personally, you know, as a leader, when you're making a choice or a decision, and a lot of people are counting on you, following along with you. So you then have this great idea, you put it out there, and then you have to backtrack. Oh, it's not working like we thought it was. There would be a personal cost to you in that realm of leadership. Did that like, what was that, and how did that occur for you? That's what I was thinking about.
I think the only loss that I had was probably with the executive group. I gained a lot of rapport and respect from the team that I was serving, because I was sticking up for them, and I was sticking up for what we had to go after and reasonable ways and means to go about doing it. So pulling back and being transparent and open with the team actually was a boost rather than a negative drain on my personal rapport with the team.
Yeah. And what would you attribute that to? What would you attribute that connection that you had with the individuals?
Just because, I mean, I've never asked any one of my team members to do something that I wouldn't do, or I haven't done. So I've done every, you know, I pride myself on doing every job in the plant, or learning every role in the plant or the operation I've been a part of, actually doing it with them, learning from them, asking questions. So it's just having a full understanding past the spreadsheet, profit and loss, and all that kind of other fun stuff, is really learning and understanding the people and the process of what they're doing every single day. And not just, you know, just really getting, you know, rolling up the sleeves and doing the job. So really gaining a full understanding of what it takes to get the job done.
Right. And being aware to do that. Myself as a leader, you can't be afraid to roll up your sleeves, but you don't need to roll up your sleeves every day. So you have to be willing to do it. Is one thing, is the mindset, knowing that you can do it. And as a leader, you don't always have to know every single job. So it's not like I'm going to jump in and do every single job, but I can be available to help in ways in which the team may not be thinking of, certainly from a strategic standpoint, resource standpoint, removing barriers, furthering conversations that get things done. So all of those will become the dynamics that you'll be involved in. And the one thing that I've heard consistently, Ben, through the whole thing that Ryan's talked about is his connection with people.
Absolutely. Sounds like you've really spent some time with your team. Now, you said when the main issue happened, you cut back production in half. Did you still keep the 2 shifts? And so then each shift had lower production level? And did you maintain all that team? Like, was anybody lost during that transition or process before, as you're ramping back up?
No, so great question. We retained the full team, and the plan was we brought everybody back to 1 shift. So we went back to 1 shift. We started implementing standard work and systems checks throughout our process, enhanced training with a full 2 shifts into 1 shift. And then we slowly started extending hours, dividing the team as we felt comfortable, the resources, and also making sure that we were ready for the next step. So, and we always because we had to go from 1 shift to 4 shifts, right, to cover 24/7 production. So then we always had that half a shift on in a trading capacity as we ramped up for the following shifts that came after that. So yes, everybody retained their jobs. And we slowly ramped when we were ready to ramp. And it was when I was in that position, I was the one who had to make those difficult decisions and have those difficult conversations with the board members and everything. But like, this is when we're going to have to go to 2 shifts, to 3 shifts, and put that plan. But, at the same time, I gained some rapport with them because I was able to provide, even with that 1 shift, more production, better quality, safety. They saw the standard work and the lean manufacturing principles, the boards out on display, some of the automatic reporting that I was able to put in place. So they saw a lot of that coming to fruition, even while production was increasing with the same number of team members.
Okay, I have some additional leadership questions, but I kind of want to close in on this part, and that is, you talked about what the experience was. You shared some of the insights, opportunity of transparency as a leader, making sure you have people connections. Sometimes it can have a little bit of a reputation impact to you. And as you said, maybe to the executives or the board, it had a little more of a negative impact, but to the employees, it wasn't quite so negative. What steps have you taken to make sure that you don't find yourself in this situation again?
Yeah, so it's putting together a good plan, transparency both up and down the organization, all throughout, and gaining the alignment ahead of time for what the plan is going to look like, and gaining alignment with the executives or whoever is at the top to support that. And I make sure the organizations I've been a part of since then that I've helped is making sure that no matter what, people matter most, right? If we're going to build this thing, I want to build it right. If we're going to scale it, I want to scale it right. And that's around people. I said, we can invest $250 million in.
Okay, so Ryan cut out a little bit there. So Ben, I was thinking, based on some of the things that Ryan was talking about, specifically around the area of leadership, I want to really dig into like what it is that he is going to look for to bring people in to his organization to acquire them. And then what does he look for to advance them, right? Because our listeners are really interested in how you grow, develop, and advance. So we really have to think a little bit through what the employers are looking for for their employees,
Right.
that will help give us some insight one way or another.
I'd say he's first looking for somebody that's really teachable. And as an example of what he's doing here, or what he has done, it's been the idea that as they are teachable, they were able to adjust and learn the new processes and systems. They didn't say, well, this is the way we've always done it. And so he was looking for those types of folks, was always a very big helpful. And he showed that he was teachable and willing to change as well. So I think when you're looking for it, you have to be the example of it yourself.
Right. And I think looking at those attributes of an effective leader is really important. And the teachability is key to it. As we've talked about before, through all of our cohesion culture programs, we start with teachability, because if your mind isn't ready to accept new information, if you're not willing to listen to the contributions that others, now not you have to do everything they say, but you have to be willing to listen. And when you are able to do that, then we have a great opportunity to move things forward, especially from us being teachable. Then the other attributes can all now work in tandem. So we can then build things like our compassion. And when we have talked with other leaders, and they have mentioned empathy and how important it is for that. And then we have grace, we have truth seeking, we have humility. We also then deal with things like being authentic as an authentic leader. So, Ryan has represented himself as an authentic leader in what he's done. And also leaders have to think about how to make peace. So with that. So Ryan, we know that there was just a little technical glitch on your end. Ben and I filled the space, so we were really good. And we're going to transition to our next question for you. And that is, we want to know, because our listeners are people who want to grow, develop, and advance. They either want a promotion or they want to do their job better. It's one of the two, or it could be a combination of both. What do you look for specifically for hiring people? And then what else would you look for, if it's different, to move them up within the organization?
Yeah, I love this. So for me, I look for the right attitude, the effort levels, the energy, engagement. Are you coachable? Do you ask good questions? Are you looking always to help past your quote unquote job description, cross department lines? Those are the things on a daily basis that I've seen people succeed, from entry level to operations managers, and raise and keep developing in their careers. It's that, but it's consistency. It's daily. And you're talking about internal promotions. I think they're fantastic, because once you're in, right? And now the sky's the limit. It's up to you. We're going to give you everything that we can to get you where you want to be. That's up to your leader, who's above you, to get you where you need to be, to ask those questions. Where do you want to be in 1, 5, 10 years, and beyond? But then looking for those people who are already doing parts of the next job, not waiting for the next job. And by the way, I'm training my guy or my girl to my left, my position. So that way, when that next position opens up ahead of me, I can transition instantly. So if you're easily able to transition to that next job immediately, you're going to be promoted so much quicker, so much faster through the organization. You're already doing parts of that job. You already know that person's job inside and out. Oh, and by the way, I got Jackie and Joe next to me who I can fill my spot, because I've already been soaking all my information and everything into them. Don't hold anything back. You got to be forthcoming. You got to be transparent. You got to give everything. Even if you think you've been stabbed in the back before. I know people have been hurt and crushed because, I gave out too much information. And I understand it. However, you got to give it. If you want to keep growing, you got to give it, and you got to keep pushing. You got to push the leader ahead of you and pull the person right next to you.
Literally, just bringing tears to my eyes,
Right.
because this is the stuff we talk about. This is the information that we put out there, and you just really helped create a real live scenario. It's not just, people think that Ben and I might theoretically think this stuff. We've been leaders ourselves. We have our own businesses to do, and hearing from you as a business leader as well really makes it come to life.
Absolutely. And it's been a resounding theme that we've talked about several times on the ability of going above and beyond. Now, in an organization where you say that it's up to the leaders and the sky's the limit, how would you say handling where someone has been stabbed in the back, or they're doing all this extra work and haven't been paid the extra, haven't gotten the promotions? Let's say the companies you've gone in and helped, where you've really promoted that, but 6 months, 8 months later, there hasn't been this financial or even just a recognition element. Like, what would you say to those folks that are saying, well, I've done that and it's just never worked out? Like, what should they be motivated to do if that's the case?
Yeah, I would ask, okay, have they had the intentional one-on-one conversations with their leader? If they have, okay, how many times have you had it? Has it been received? Has there been any follow-up with them? If there hasn't, okay, then I would encourage elevating the discussion past them, because maybe they are holding you back, right? It happens, right? It happens all the time. And I'd be respectful about it and say, listen, I'm not getting anywhere if I don't see some things, and be clear. If I don't see some things, I'd like to have a discussion with, the next level leader, because I feel as though I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm ready. I'm ready for that next position. And then if they've went through a few of these different scenarios of trying to make it known and being direct, don't do the side channels and all this kind of stuff and gossip, and because that's just going to destroy your opportunities there. But if you went through the proper channels, you've had those intentional one-on-ones, then I would take a step back and start to really take an examination of the organization and the leaders that you're working for, right? Is this a culture that you want to be a part of? Because guess what? I mean, it happens every day. You guys, if you guys could be in part of every organization, it'd be fantastic. Everybody would love what they do. They'd be happy going to work. They'd be keep getting promoted, and moving. But it doesn't happen every day. Sometimes we're not in the right room, and we need to take a step back and understand when we are not in the right room. We didn't enter the right door, and we need to start looking. That's when we start looking outside the organization for other opportunities. I mean, exhaust all options and then start picking up the phone and start seeing what else is out there, because you deserve better than how you're being treated. And you only get one shot at this thing we call life. There's no amount of time. I mean, I've been miserable working before, and I don't want anybody to be miserable working, right? It's not what we're meant to do. We're meant to socialize, interact with people, have a good time, and not be miserable. Life's too short to be miserable. We should enjoy what we do. Some people will find passion in everything in the things that we do. Other people find passion in things they do outside of work, but the works is the means to enjoy that passion, right? So the long story there is just find that passion, and sometimes you're not in the right room.
Yeah, and having access to either people, mentors, accountability partners, coaches, whatever, will make a huge difference. And so one of the things that you just now articulated is something that we have included within our program called Becoming a Cohesive Leader. So we launched a book that has done very well in the marketplace. And along with it is an AI-powered book bot called Carl, the Cohesive Artificial Response Leader. And we posed that question to Carl: how do I approach my boss for a promotion? And Carl very quickly creates a little action plan of 7 items that you can do as an individual to prepare yourself for that conversation that you want to have with your boss, which I think is really awesome, because without you even knowing what we wrote about, here we are now congruently agreeing on the process and the information. Just a few things here would be, plant the seeds of interest. If you want to ask for a promotion, like you said, you're teaching Jackie and Joe, I think were the names you used as your examples of the person, to one side of you. You're actually creating that process of, oh, what would it look like if I advance and can move forward? And to begin thinking about what the need for me to move forward. It's one thing to simply say, hey, I want to move forward. But if there's no need in the organization to move forward, you're not going to be able to speak into the need. So if you can understand the need and the future direction for the organization, it can be really, really helpful. And you want to avoid a surprise conversation with your boss about it. I mean, I look at surprises like this. There are only 2 times that people want surprises in their life, and one involves a cake, the other involves a ring. So look at that. So that's really the process. And then there's a lot more that Carl has to say about that particular topic. But I just love the fact that there's congruency in the way we're thinking. So what you have shared with us today is so in tune with what we have written about, what we are presenting to these individuals who are looking to grow, develop, and advance their career, either through the book, through the podcast, through our community, through our academy. Really awesome. You've been really, really awesome guest today, Ryan. We can't thank you enough for the words that you shared.
No, I appreciate your guys' time, and I love what you guys are doing. I've actually tested Carl out a few times. It's fantastic. I wrote to Dr. Troy about it. My son was looking to do some things at work, and I tested it out. It was great. It was very insightful.
Yeah, great. Thanks. We appreciate that. Yeah.
Awesome. And I love that you're a roll your sleeves up guy. You're taking on new projects. And I can say, when I work beside some of my teammates and I'm there sweating beside them and all that, it allows me to have the conversation of where maybe my words aren't empathetic sometimes, but they know that I'm with them in the fight. And again, it's not every day that I'm doing that. So I just want to applaud you for going there. And it's really easy to help culture when you're part of it and you know what their struggles are. So,
yeah. So Ryan, one of the things we wanted to know from you is, what is a question you thought we would ask today that we didn't?
Oh, geez. Man, I don't know. What's one thing? Oh, geez. Now you're going to get me to answer that question too after I ask it, right?
See how smart he is.
What's one thing that you would give advice to on the growing and emerging leader?
Yeah, so good. So that's the question.
Go for it.
That's the question. No, I think we tapped on a few things here today. So, like, if you want to grow, continuously grow, again, it's the consistency. It's showing up every day, and really, it's all about people. It's all about the people. I don't care what you're doing out there. I don't care what you're making. I don't care what kind of work that you do. Guess what? You're in the people business. We're all in the people business. AI or whatever, throw it away. That's fine. It's going to do great things. Carl's going to do awesome things, but we're in the people business. Carl's just an assistant, right, to try to help the people business. Yes. Okay, which is awesome. So we can utilize AI to help the people business. But focus on the people. Have intentional conversations. Be helpful. Ask the questions a lot. How can I help? Dive in deeper to general conversations. Get past surface level conversations in the workplace, because that will unlock doors for you. Meaning, like, hey, how are you doing, Dr. Troy? Oh, yeah, I'm good. But through body language and everything, how somebody's really doing. So ask another engaging question, a clarifying question. You want better answers from your team and the people that you work with and serve. You got to ask better questions. So dive in deep, get past the surface, and unlock the beauty of what people have and help them continuously improve right by your side. And before too long, you'll be making an impact and leaving a legacy behind you.
Right. Sounds like what you're asking people to do is to be engaged, which is through our idea, through culture, through the infusing cohesion into the culture around those 3 strategic elements of cohesion, which would be inclusion, meaningful work, and collaboration, is that you would want them to be helpful, meaning that they're going to assist other people without being told. You want them to be active so that they can be problem solvers, figuring things out ahead of time. Not just presenting the problem, but presenting the problem and maybe a potential solution. To be focused on vision, which is their vested interest in themselves and in the company and where the company is going. And then lastly, to be eager to learn, grow, and develop, and to give yourself permission. Ben, you say this all the time. It's give yourself permission to learn or do something without waiting for someone to line it up for you.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've just never understood by my nature. And I realized that that's something that has to be conveyed to the younger workforce, that they sometimes grew up in a mindset or a schooling and of we can only do what we're told to do. And in work to excel, it's you don't, I'm giving you permission. If you need it, I'm giving it to you. But work harder, or work smarter, learn, educate yourself outside of schooling. If you need to, just go do it, because do the extra effort and you'll see incredible results. If nothing else, you'll just feel better about what you've done with the work you produced.
Yeah. And be better prepared, because you almost have to sometimes do it for yourself, and then it can work for others. That's why the transformative principle is so important in the cohesion conversation, because transformation begins when you focus on the needs of others first and then self. So it's not a martyrism. It's not a self-sacrifice. It is actually putting people in the right order. So focusing on that. So awesome. Super. Ryan, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast today. We're going to close out with a message that we leave all of our listeners and the people who participate in our cohesion culture programs. And that is, you don't have to know everything.
You just need to be teachable.
See you on the other side.